Welcome to the first ever episode of Good Take, Bad Take, where we're going to present to you some of the most interesting takes on social media over the past 24 to 48 hours and then get your view and opinions on them. We want to get your views and opinions. Me and Lies are going to sit there and discuss them with you. Of course, smash the like button before you go any further. Subscribe to the Football Terrace, and we'll tell you a little bit later on in the show how you can win a PlayStation 5 and a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's football boots with us exclusively on the Football Terrace. But first of all, Lies, how are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Had a good day. I finally actually played football today for the first time since I've been in the UK, but it's good to be back on the show.
Yeah, and it's good to have you back on. And yeah, I ain't played football. I've refused to play football now. Far too old for that. The knees will break. The knees will 110% break. They will. They'll fall apart massively. Where do you want to start? So the viewers, if you haven't seen the tweet, the 4 subjects today are going to be: is the Glazer out movement dead? Will Emile Smith-Rowe be better than Grealish and Foden? Has Paul Pogba been a flop at Man United? And will Mikel Arteta surpass or be better than Jurgen Klopp? These are all taken from tweets that have been put out by people on social media. We want to discuss them with you. And you, the viewers, on each subject, you will be commenting in the comment section, good take or bad take, to what we think of it and what they think as well. So make sure you get that in as well. But viewers, where do you want us to start? A few of you saying change the title. No, you've got to understand the concept of the show. It's good take, bad take. So it's what people have said, and we're going to talk about it. Don't get triggered by the title. Listen to the content. Silly. Someone uses delusional topics. Maybe that's the point of the show, Anthony. Good take, bad take.
Let us know.
And they're not our takes. We're discussing it, and then you hear our take on them. Come on, slow down. Yeah, maybe. Do you know what it is though? People will they'll read the title and go, oh my God, it's terrible. They won't read the thumbnail and go, what does good take, bad take? Oh, I know what good take, bad take means. I understand the concept here. That's what's going to happen.
Trust me, bro.
Someone says you should name the show Hot Takes. Do you know what? I actually think Hot Takes is maybe even a better name for it, actually. I quite like Hot Takes. Maybe we'll call it Hot Takes. We might have done, maybe we'll do that. But there we go. So the first one we're going to start on. What's the first one we're going to start on? No one has really said anything in the comment section. Again, they just had a pop at the title rather than anything else. Glazer topic, actually, a few people are saying. So I'll pose a question to you first of all, Lies.
Yep.
In your opinion, after today's, limited amount of people that turned up at the protest, do you think the Glazer out movement is dead?
I think the Glazer out. Yeah, I think the idea of protesting by going to the stadium and doing what we did, or what United fans did today, and what they did during the Super League or during that time period, I think that in itself is dead, because I think you've seen now time and time again. We saw it in 2009 when we were at the top of the world. We've seen it recently when we're at the bottom, it seems like. And listen, I've always said when it comes not just to football protests, but protests in general, or when you want change to be made, making protests like today's is a good symbol. I really appreciate anyone who showed up. Saeed, the guy who started it. I think the idea behind it is good, and there's good intention. But whether there were 1 million people there today or 30 or 40, like I think I saw today, I don't think the impact will ever be made. When you want to make change, guys, you always have to deal with the people's money. Whoever you're trying to impact, you have to mess with their money. It doesn't matter whether it's sports, politics, war. Money is the number one factor in all of this. In fact, it's the number one factor of Manchester United when it comes to the disconnect for me between the fans and the Glazers. So, Terry, I know you've said this a million times on your shows, right? The Glazers will never ever, your voices will never be heard in their heads until you start messing with their money. Whether it be stop buying their kits, stop buying season tickets, stop attending games, stop buying merchandise. That's the kind of stuff that can make a direct impact. And you may think, oh, if I don't buy the kit, what's the difference? But imagine 50,000 people think like that, and they mess up Adidas's numbers. And then Adidas goes to the Glazers and said, step it up. That's what can make a change, in my opinion. But for me, as good as the intention is, and all these people coming together and fighting for what they believe in by hosting signs and, I don't know, standing in front of the stadium and throwing flares up, at the end of the day, the impact that's going to be made is very minimal. And I think today it was less than minimal. I think today for me, like you're probably about to say, is the death of the Glazers out protests.
Yeah, and look, I want to start by echoing what you said. I think that everybody's got a different view and an opinion on Saeed and what his motivation. I've heard people go as far as to say, "Oh, he was only doing it to generate likes. He was only doing it to grow his following. He's doing it for all the wrong reasons." Blah 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 blah. I've heard all these takes as to why Saeed shouldn't have been sort of driving this. I've heard the takes of, "Oh, but it was Ollie out first, and nobody wants to go to an Ollie out protest." I'm booing the manager at halftime and at full time and shouting Ollie out. Like, I just think I feel like today become a little bit of a battle of semantics and narratives and who's going to look like the best fan out there.
Yeah.
And you've got certain Reds that don't want fan cameras and vloggers to look like the best. Oh, I'm not turning up to this because there's an element of the protest I don't agree with or whatnot. And we're not talking about something as deep and impactful as real politics, real culture, real life. We're talking about a football club where we've got owners not completing, what's the word? I'm undertaking malpractice every single day they're at this football club. And I just feel like the fan base has become divided into particular groups. None of them are going to come together to help one another. Even forget fan cameras. Even in the last protest, there were people that, like some of the sort of singing section groups and different groups that make flags, fighting with each other about how it should be done and where they should start, what you should and shouldn't do, even without sort of fan cameras being there. That type of attitude is music to the Glazers' ears. Equally, I don't even think the only type of protest that will work is like before the Liverpool game, where you stop the game from going ahead and you make international news, and you do that week in, week out, game in, game out, even away games. Just go to the hotel and surround the players' bus. They can't get on the bus. The game gets called off. Do it for 3 or 4 games. My view is change will come. You damage their back pockets. You damage the brand. Change will come. And I tweeted something earlier, and I don't regret the tweet per se. I could have maybe worded it a little differently. But if you're giving your money to this current Manchester United, you're not loving the club in the right way. Some people believe they are, and I don't believe people are doing it out of malice or anything else. There's just this element to me of tough love is needed right now. And I've given this example before, and this example will probably trigger some people, but I stand by it and I'll say it again. If one of my children had a drug habit, loving them isn't feeding that habit. Oh, but loving them is making them go cold turkey, watching them vomit, watch them be sick, watch them contort their body, watch them scream they hate me to my face. That's real love, putting them through that pain to hopefully get them better at the other end. Not going, oh, look at the pain he's in. I'm going to run out for him and buy him a little hit so that he's suddenly out of pain. And I feel that the funding of the club is we're prolonging this pain. It's sort of like for small periods of time, we feel a little bit better, but the same problems persist in the long run and it's getting worse and worse. And we need to do something now as a fan base. And I'm not an activist and I'm not holier than thou. I tweeted out, and some people asked me what I've done. I said, I gave up my season ticket. I stopped buying merchandise. Then I get people slam me, oh, you're trying to be righteous. It's like, see, whatever I say, you're going to find fault with it. So that's why I think it's dead. I think it's dead because nobody's willing to go to the extremities needed to get them to be removed. And by the way, that's their choice. That's their choice. And I respect it to large degrees. That is their choice. But I've said all along, protests and scarves and hashtags, none of this makes the Glazers go away. Damage the back pocket. And maybe at the very least, we'd get the changes that we desire. So I agree with you. And I agree with the tweet that I saw earlier. The Glazer out movement is dead for me. So as far as I'm concerned now, until I see an abundance of fans willing to cut the money away, although I'll moan about the Glazers on an individual level when I'm talking, the Glazer out movement is dead to me. I'm no longer going to push it, support it in any way, shape or form, because it isn't gonna, it's just noise now. It's white noise that I'm just not going to sink any more energy into. And you know, today was a big thing for me. Fans now have got to vote with their wallets. And I tweeted this earlier as well, and it'll be my last point on this. If you're treated like a consumer, act as a consumer. That's all you need to do. And we say they treat us like customers, so treat them like a business. Don't treat them like, forget that the name Man United. Treat them how they treat you and force that change. That's the only way forward for me, Lies. That's the only way.
Yeah, I think one more thing I want to add too is that I saw a lot of United fans almost like rejoicing at the protest today not working out. For me, that's backwards. And at the end of the day, you're letting an agenda, whether it be you don't like Saeed or you don't like some people were going there because they want Ali out. At the end of the day, like I think you pointed out, right? This helps the Glazers case. Like the Glazers are going to love United fans just fighting in between each other. Oh, Ollie in or Ollie out. At the end of the day, I think we've said it time and time again. The bigger picture isn't Ollie, it's the Glazers, right? The fact that Ollie is still in a job after losing all these games and losing them poorly, and we don't look like we're going anywhere. At the end of the day, if he can't get sacked after that, it's not Ollie's fault anymore. It's the Glazers, and people need to keep directing their energy and their hatred or their fight towards them. And rejoicing that a Glazers protest didn't get that many people today. What do you gain from that? A Twitter win against someone you don't like?
It's the Glazers won today, and they'll continue to run the club poorly. And look, I understand people don't like fan cams. I understand some people don't like top reds. I understand some people don't like loud, leery, beer drinking, match going fans. I know some don't like the older, more quiet fans that want everyone to sit down in the stadium. I know some don't like the international fans. I know some don't like the local fans. But all that's got to be put aside if you want this to work and work together. Just for a moment, someone makes a fan cam and you're acting like they're the biggest scumbag on earth. You know, I don't see as much energy when somebody threatens to beat. When Saeed gets somebody tweet to threaten to beat him up, where are all these righteous people that are like, we got to get the toxicity out of the club, and the fan cams make toxicity. You know, someone threatening to cave someone's head in and you're silent. Drop me out with your virtue signaling bullshit. And that's why, by the way, it rounds back to my point before we move on to the next topic. That's why for me it's dead. That's why for me it's over, because the fan base is too divided. Like I've said, I disagree with the protest in the sense of I don't think it will work, but I congratulate and encourage and say well done to Saeed for trying it as an example. This is where the conversations have to happen. I can have a civil conversation with someone about how to change the Glazers or get them out without me hating on them. Oh, your idea ain't going to work, so I'm going to laugh at it when it goes wrong. That is just again, basic level stuff, and I just won't do it. But there we go. Viewers, do you think the Glazer out movement is over? Good or bad take? Write that in the comments section. We've got a super chat from Hamid here that says it won't work unless season ticket holders stop going or plan mass walkouts in mid games. Anything else won't work because it'll be so uncoordinated. And
Terry, that's another thing too, right? Like, why was this held during international break when no one is at the stadium? There's no disruption. There's not TV. There's no, I don't know, planes or TVs focused on this. Like, this for me is like, what's the expression, right? If a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to see it, did it actually happen, right? These should be happening during match days when thousands of people are packed in the stadium and TV companies that's when you make your voices heard. And for me, hosting it during international break, who wins from that? What are you gaining from that?
I couldn't agree with you more. Rapstar here says, been saying it for time. A lot of Arsenal fans have mental illness. Get him or her on the show, Terry. I need to hear his or her logic. Ollie in, say it with me. Well, that brings us on nicely to the next two. There are two Arsenal takes on this that we're going to go into as well.
As always.
The first one, we'll go with the big one first today. And by the way, the competition for the PS5 coming up very soon. We'll give you that information. If we hit 1,000 likes on the show, I will give you a clue to what the secret phrase is. So make sure that button is being smashed. Share it with your friends and family. Get them on. Just to hit the like button if they have to. We hit that 1,000 like mark. We're closing in on 200 likes as it stands right now as well, which is amazing. But we need to hit 1,000. But I want to ask you. I saw a tweet put out this morning. I want to try and read the tweet word for word here. There was a whole thread to it. But the tweet says, I'm going to come out with this now so you guys know I don't tweet things due to sort of recency or confirmation bias. But Mikel Arteta is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp and definitely has the potential to show it this season. Arsenal are finishing third above Liverpool. He then goes on to explain why he believes he's better. There's quite a long thread that brings this to life. I mean, that is an extreme hot take. That's a huge take. Give me your thoughts on that, Lias. And viewers, I want to know your feelings as well, please.
That's not a hot take. That's not a hot take. That's a terrible take. That is a downright egregious take. That is one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life, in fact. And I know a lot of people were saying, oh, you have to read the thread, give him a chance. No, there is no thread that can justify saying that you think Arteta is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp. Can you say I think Arteta has the potential to be better than Jurgen Klopp. If you believe that, then yeah, you could probably put some hypotheticals together, some stats where you think he already leads him in. Maybe he needs more money to build his squad, but there is no stat, no metric, there's nothing you can say to prove that Mikel Arteta is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp. There is absolutely no way you can prove that. And I didn't read the thread because for me, seeing that in itself is enough. Jurgen Klopp has been managing since 2000. Actually, he's been managing for a while, but like at a top level since Borussia Dortmund, what he did with a club with little to no finances, losing his best players to Bayern Munich every single year, getting to a Champions League final, ending the Bayern Munich dynasty in the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund, coming to Liverpool, a sleeping giant that hadn't won a league title in 30 plus years, building it from the ground up, getting rid of guys like Barini, Balotelli, Lambert, those guys, and bringing in Salah and Van Dijk and Alisson, some of the best players on the planet. Compare that to what Mikel Arteta has done in such a brief amount of managerial time, right? It's a pebble in the ocean compared to what Jurgen Klopp has done. And it's not like it's a brilliant pebble where like he won a league title in one season. No, he's finished 8th back to back. And he is doing pretty well at the moment, but he's still, 5th or 6th? There is no metric alive that can prove Mikel Arteta is a better manager than Jurgen Klopp. If you want to say he can be, I would disagree still, but I'm willing to hear you out. Saying that he is at this moment is ridiculous.
Yeah, like I look at it and it's crazy. You know, with Arsenal fans, they're on a really good run right now. Arteta has proven people, including myself, wrong in things in the short term. In terms of, I thought everything was finished after the opening, not 3 games, but 5, 6 games after the performances to Brighton and Palace, and he's turned it around. Is he a good coach at the elite level? Yeah. Has he shown good promise? Are there things that you could look at in terms of his style and everything else where you could look at it and go, do you know what, with development and with time, he could become a very good manager? I think there are signs of that. There are definitely green shoots of it. There is no doubt. But Jurgen Klopp is one of the best. He's right now top 2, top 3 managers in the world. Some would say number 1. In the last 10 years, he's been one of the best managers in the world. He's on track and on a trajectory to potentially go into conversations as one of the greatest of maybe the modern era, maybe of all time. He wins another Champions League. He wins a few more league titles with the style of football, with the records that Liverpool broke. These conversations are happening. I think to even utter Jurgen Klopp's name next to Mikel Arteta, forget the disrespect to Klopp for a moment. I think what it really does is undermines the recent progression you've had. I think it undermines the development under Mikel Arteta. I think the overplaying it makes people almost turn their nose up at what you're doing. It's like, well, we can't take you seriously. I've seen Arsenal fans in recent weeks act like the Cronkies are actually really good owners after for months saying they were terrible. And I'm like, you do realize to know if the Cronkies have really turned the corner, you are talking about a 4 to 5 year wait until you know. You might want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You might want to give them a bit more leeway. You might want to celebrate the small successes along the way. But you're only going to know how much you've improved if they're serious about making you Premier League winners again. What they do if you finish 6th this year. What they do if you finish 4th this year in terms of backing Arteta again. What they do if you finish 4th next year, spend lots of money, and Arteta struggles that season. Do they sack him? Do they back him again? You know, maybe you come 3rd in the league and you're like, we're so close. We just need a potent goal scorer. Do they sanction it? That's when you know they're back. And again, there are loads of little things behind the scenes. But I'm like that with the Glazers. I'll see things. Okay, I quite like how we did our transfer business in the summer. Do I believe we're running the club well? No, it's going to take years of consistency to change that. I feel with Arsenal, they're on a great run and they should celebrate that massively. They've got some very talented young players that we'll get onto later, which they should celebrate. But I do get this kind of feeling that they're going a little bit over the top. They're going a little bit OTT with we've turned the corner. We're going to finish in the top 4. The owners are doing an amazing job. I think we overlooked how good the Cronkies actually were. Now down to Arteta's better than Jurgen Klopp. And I just look at it and think, why? I don't understand. Maybe it's years of being banter FC and they want to stand tall, shoulders back. But I just feel like saying to them, you do realize that you're putting yourselves in the firing line to be shot down so bad. And Arteta's doing a very good job right now. Celebrate that in itself and just slow down with the. I think in 2 years of management,
even very good.
Harry,
That's like a stretch too. Like very good. He's not even in the top 4 at the moment. He hasn't been in the top 4 for the last 2 seasons. I think you're spot on, right? It's just Arsenal fans are very excited at the moment. And at the moment, everything they have is the best. They have the best goalkeeper in the league. They have the best potential back 4 in the league at the moment. They have the best youngster in the league in 2 different positions. Now they have the better manager than Jurgen Klopp. Just slow it down a little. Calm down. You play Arsenal, and I think they play Liverpool the next week, no?
Yeah, next game.
You're setting yourself up for mass trolling, man.
Comment here says, Arteta is better than Klopp. These kind of takes force me to think that sometimes freedom of speech is not such a good thing. Wow. By the way, to Caniel, who guessed the phrase isn't a cold, wet night in Stoke. But thank you very much for guessing on the show. Still closing in on those 200 likes, people. Make sure you smash that like button for us right now. I do want to take some of your views and opinions on this as well. Terry, why don't you say that to Lee Gunner? I've told Lee Gunner I think they're doing much better than that right now. One of my questions to Lee Gunner in our last show was, Lee, do you think you got it wrong? You're doing well right now. I literally questioned him on the show about his opinions on players in the club. And I know you watched it, Francis. I know you were there. I saw your comments, my brother. Let's have a look here at some more comments. Most of these Arsenal fans are Johnny-come-latelys who only started supporting the club in the last 10 years and have such poor ball knowledge and get overly carried away with a few results. Do you know what? There's some of the people I see speaking about it, when I listen to them talk about other clubs, there's a football palette there. They understand it. Do you know, I get the take with some Arsenal fans, what they do. Forget like rivals, it's within their own fan base. Have you ever been around somebody have you ever been on like a good diet or like on a health kick where you're training hard and eating good? You ever done that?
Yeah, for a bit.
Yeah, right. But you know, you've always got that one person around you all that isn't doing it, eats crap, drinks a lot, doesn't exercise, but they're always trying to, they might order something, they order themselves a large pizza and they're like, oh, do you want one? No, I'm on a diet. Please have some. They want to share that guilt with you. And I feel like you'll see a lot more when you get to my age. Everyone's on a diet. But I feel like some gooners, what they're doing, it's like if I can convince lots of gooners to say the Cronkies are actually good and Arteta's on the verge of greatness or on the road to greatness, if it doesn't happen, because there's thousands of us saying it, I won't be singled out as getting it wrong. Equally, if it goes right, I can put my hand up and go, oh, I was the Pied Piper here. I brought everybody on board with this. I just feel like it's a little bit calculated as opposed to truly, and I don't know if they truly believe it. I think are they planting that seed nice and early in case it happens? And bro, I don't know.
The week before they play Liverpool is crazy. Like that. Yeah. That's like suicide. That's like kamikaze right there.
And by the way, this is the hottest take I've seen. I've seen none of the Arsenal fans that I follow have agreed with it to a degree. Some have said that they think it could become as good as Jurgen Klopp. They've said that's a bad take. I think it can become as good. And I get that. But I just feel like if they win a few more games, some of these takes are going to get even more wild. But viewers, what's your thoughts? What is your feelings? Arteta, could he ever? And by the way, I tried my best to not even clickbait the tweet. I just said, will Arteta be better than Klopp? That's about as, like, I'm trying my best for people not to get even triggered by my titles when it comes to that. Michael here says, this is why I never feel sorry for those lot. They do this all the time. They would make Arteta the literal second best in the league above Tuchel and Conte, is what Michael Smith has got to say. Just to let you know, we've got the details about our competition coming up in a few moments' time. Make sure like buttons are being hit, that you subscribe to the Football Terrace as well. Topic we're going to speak about after the competition introduction is going to be, is Paul Pogba a flop at Manchester United? But first, the Football Terrace competition details coming right up. So, the Football Terrace is giving away a brand new PlayStation 5 with 2 control pads and a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's brand new Nike football boots in a size of your choice. All you need to do to enter, you've seen a few people do it on the show already, is super chat in. And it could be a standalone super chat having a guess, or it could be at the end of whatever you're super chatting this evening, any question you've got, any points you're making. But you have to guess the Football Terrace secret phrase. It's a football phrase. What won it last time was Fergie's Fledglings. So it could be anything related to football. It's in the golden envelope just behind me there. If you get it right, the PS5, 2 control pads, and Cristiano Ronaldo's boots are all yours. We'll get them sent out to you, shipped out ASAP. Smash the like and share button. Let's do this. So, Lias, I wanted to ask you this question. Paul Pogba, is he a flop at Man United or not? By the way, this comes from a tweet that was put out by Fuad. Everyone knows Fuad, great content creator, who said, one day Pogba is going to leave United and you're all going to say, you know what? Maybe Souness was right all along. So that's kind of led me to this sort of question of, do you think he's actually been a flop at Manchester United?
Okay, right off the bat, I disagree with Fuad's tweet. I think we will see Paul Pogba once he leaves United in a completely different light. Like, I think we will actually see not even the unlocked jokes. Like, I think he's going to take it up another level if he goes to a more structured, just a better team. If he goes to PSG or Real Madrid, no one's going to be saying Graham Souness had a point. Is Paul Pogba a Manchester United or a Premier League flop? Yeah, man. What do you want me to say, man? I think he might be. Because I look at the price. You have to take context into this. And I'm a massive Paul Pogba fan. Terry, you know this. Most people who follow me know this. I love Paul Pogba. Like, I hope I want him to stay and I don't know, get it right, man. Because I like him. I like the person. I think he's misunderstood. But from what he's done from the start of his United career to now, he was the most expensive player on the planet, 89 million pounds. And he was brought in to be the figurehead of this new United under Jose Mourinho. He was at 23 years old, best midfielder on the planet at that point, and bring United into this new dawn. Mourinho, when he signed him, he says he's going to be the face of United for the next 10 years. And it hasn't ended up like that. He has won 2 trophies in 6 years. Again, a lot of this is some of this is on him, some of this is on the club, some of this has been on the managers, some of this has been on his teammates. I don't want to say this is all on Paul Pogba 100%. But when you look at everything that goes into whether a signing is successful or isn't successful, how many goals did they score? How many assists did they contribute? How many titles did they win? Did they make a change on the culture of Manchester United? I don't know. Anything that you think, Terry, makes a signing a good signing or a bad signing, I don't think Pogba checks enough of the boxes, plus alongside the massive amount of money they've paid. Plus, if Paul Pogba leaves Manchester United for free, after they let him go for free 6, 7, 8 years ago, and then buying him again for 89 million, just to let him go for free, I think he has to go down as a flop. But I do want to say, I think that if he stays, there is still time for me, in my opinion, under the right manager to right that wrong and make his time at United a success. But I think all things considered, he has been a flop at United.
Yeah, look, I think. Do you know where I defend Paul Pogba is in the light of most players have been since Fergie. You think about the majority of our signings, from Fellaini right through to Ronaldo, they've all been successful not all been. Some have been successful in bunches and in periods. Even and I look at probably the most successful signing we've had is probably Bruno Fernandes in terms of delivery. But I still don't look at him in the same light as other players that have scored lots and created lots and been brilliant performers, because we haven't won those trophies. So I feel like Paul Pogba, who, by the way, has won a League Cup and a Europa League, you know, so he has won a trophy or two here, but he just hasn't won to a level and with a consistency to which we would want to see Paul Pogba win. Like he just hasn't. And I don't think that can be kind of, I don't think that can be looked over. I don't think that can be kind of written off. I wouldn't necessarily say flop. I look at Fuad's tweet. I believe, like you, I think if he joins a team with a world-class manager with a great structure and a good balance to it, I think we see him do bits and it makes us angry. I think we look at it and go, oh my God, look what he's doing for PSG. Look what he's doing at Real Madrid, which is why my biggest bugbear with Pogba isn't him. It's we haven't given him a successful manager. He's had 2 managers at Man United, and we look at both as not being good enough. And I think Pogba's flopping is a byproduct of Man United getting 100%. Things so wrong. So do I blame it completely on him? No, because everyone knows I look at club managers before I look at the players. So I do feel a bit for him. But at 85 odd million pounds, the amount of money he's been paid, he has to go into that flop category to a degree because he hasn't delivered. You know, if Bruno Fernandes, of all his goals and assists, is looked at as a flop because he hasn't won a major trophy, Paul Pogba has to be as well. He cost double the money, and you know he just hasn't quite. I feel sorry for him though. Like I really feel sorry for Paul Pogba. It bothers me massively. It really bothers me massively that he hasn't been able to You know, he hasn't been given more. He hasn't been able to deliver more. It's highly, highly frustrating. It really, really is.
I
There's no
think
doubt.
one thing you didn't touch on either, Terry, and that I want to touch on as well, that honestly, I said there is still a chance that he can right his wrong. I honestly truly believe in this regard, he may never right this wrong. And that was Paul Pogba, for me, wrongly, was brought into Manchester United to be the guy, because for me, he was misprofiled. United thought, or Mourinho thought, they were signing, I don't know, the next Vieira or the next Yaya Toure or this next very dominant all-action midfielder who covers every blade of grass. He dominates games. He can be our Roy Keane that we haven't replaced in 20 years. And Paul Pogba quickly showed that he isn't even that kind of midfielder. He's a very technically gifted. He's a very intelligent. He creates chances, but I mean, we've seen it in 6-7 years. He's not this great defensive player. He's not this all action midfielder. He's a really, really brilliant player in the final thirds that can create chances for fun. And we almost made him we kind of tried to force him to become this guy that he never was, never has been, never will be. And I think when you look at Bruno Fernandes, we kind of signed him not to be the guy, and he's almost taken that responsibility on. And that's why I feel like a few more people give credit to Bruno rather than Pogba, because Bruno turned the ship around when he came in, right? The results immediately improved. Pogba was brought in to win Premier Leagues, and we haven't gotten any closer to doing that since he came in. And I think that narrative right there is the reason why Pogba, for me, whether he goes on it and stays at United and does bits, I think people will always have that in the back of their mind.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think he makes some excellent points in relation to that. And, you know, trophies at Man United are the biggest currency that we all want. There's a comment from Aiden that says, facts, Pogba's not the guy. He's one of the guys in relation to that. Yaya Toure gets disrespected too often, class player. That's an interesting comment in this. But listen, yeah, Yaya, I've always said this, a lot of Man City's tip-top players, who have a lot of their better players never really get spoken about in the Prem in the same light as Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal players. And I think that's a fan base size issue, if I'm being absolutely honest. I really do think that's part of that. To be fair, let's have a look at some more of your comments. He has been a flop at United, and I can see him joining another top 6 side and smashing it, making it twice as worse for United fans. And listen, I agree with that to an extent as well. Like, legitimately, I've said a few times recently that I can honestly see him joining a rival. Like, I really can. I can honestly see him joining a rival in the Premier League as things move forward. I legitimately think that. I legitimately feel that. I really do feel like that could happen. I hope it doesn't. Like, I really, really hope that it doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm fearful. Like, legitimately fearful of it.
I just saw a comment I actually really like, and it's someone calling Pogba the French Ozil. And I don't know if they meant that as a dig, to be honest, but I really think that the two are a bit similar in how they're perceived by the fan base, by the media, in that Ozil, again, is another guy who was brought into Arsenal to be the catalyst for Arsenal going back to winning Premier Leagues. And at the end of the day, there are very few players in the world who can win titles completely on their own. You look at maybe Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, Mbappe. Maybe those are the 4 that you could say can really make the difference. Other than that, other players need a team around them that can A, benefit them, and B, build off what they have. And Ozil, for me, never had the team around him at Arsenal. And when he did, maybe he was out of his prime. And Pogba, I think, is the same way. These guys were brought in with over-the-top expectations, to be honest with you. And when it became clear that they're only human, like, they're amazing footballers, but they're not capable of just changing a club's fortune by themselves, all the attention goes on them. So I really see a very good similarity between Pogba and Ozil.
Yeah, I hear you on that. There's a comment here from Langan Sweet. Says, Terry, you always say you rate players that deliver, but you defend Pogba as if Eden Hazard, as it was Eden Hazard, you would slander him. So again, you misinterpret my points behind these things with respect. So my only issue with Hazard is when people say Messi's here, Hazard's here, Ronaldo's down here. You have to see my hand movements here, Lias, because this will make sense, right?
Yeah.
Messi here, Hazard here, Cristiano Ronaldo there. That's where I had an issue, not with Eden Hazard, but with the take that he was just behind Messi, but miles in front of Ronaldo.
That's ridiculous.
That's not the same as me defending a player because if he's at Messi or Ronaldo's level, I believe his outputs need to be better. His consistency needs to be better, because those two are the most consistent football players I have ever watched in my life. So, Leng and Sweet, I respect your opinion, but it isn't the same thing. With Paul Pogba, when he's been played in advanced positions on a regular basis for Man United, his outputs have been tremendous. When he's been put into deeper roles, I don't think he's as strong there, and our structure is good enough, and it exposes him. Pogba is responsible for a lot of poor performances that he's in. But at the same time, Man United have had problems with consistency of the majority. 95% of the squad have been inconsistent for 9 years now. It isn't a Paul Pogba issue. It's a Man United issue. If you're a player that goes into Man City's team, who's your club, Leng and Sweet, and isn't consistent and isn't good, but the main other 12, 13 players around him are all consistent and good, you can focus on the player, because clearly the structure in the system works. When you have 4 managers who all struggle to gain consistency out of a variety of players before Pogba, during Pogba, and probably after Paul Pogba leaves, I'm not as harsh on that individual. So that's why those two things are very, very different, in my opinion, my friend. That's why those two things are very, very different to me. Again, a lot of you will kind of twist it and be like, no, that isn't right, Terry. But it kind of is. It kind of is. We're closing in on 500 likes, ladies and gentlemen. To get that button being smashed, we're definitely being trolled. But the dislike troll is back tonight as well. I can always tell when the dislike troll is here. I can always tell when they're here. We sometimes have shows where we average about 7 to 10 dislikes. But when the troll's here, we hit that 50 without foul on every single stream. And what will happen now is like more people will hit the dislike button for a laugh on the show. But it is what it is. Yeah, it's growing now. As I say that, they're all doing it to disrespect me and make me come off camera and cry my eyes out. Thank you all very much for being so nasty. If it makes you, someone says you can't see the dislikes anymore. Can you not?
This guy says YouTube removed them anyways. Can't see.
I can still see everybody's dislikes and likes on other channels as well. But yeah, there we go. Fair enough. But smash the like button, unhit the dislike. Like a lot of you just hit it for a lot. I did it once before. When I showed up my subscribers, we were on like 160,000. I was like, we're so close to 160,000, and like 400 people watching unsubscribed. I was like, what's wrong with you guys? It's such great. It's all a good laugh. It's all a good laugh. But there we go. Some of you saying you can't see like some, maybe certain regions it's already been removed. I don't know. But there we go. Final talking point tonight, though, that I want to get from you. Final talking point that we'll have before we take some questions is, I've seen a lot of we've been on shows where people have said this. I've seen a lot of tweets suggesting it or implying it. Emile Smith-Rowe, is he going to be better than the likes of Grealish, Foden, Mount? Maybe even better than people like Kai Havertz. We had it on a show before when we had that. What is your take on Emile Smith-Rowe? Is he one of the leading lights in that creative role in the Premier League?
That's a tough question, because you were saying all these names. I'm like, maybe better than him, not better than him. Maybe. But then you ask, is he one of the leading lights? Absolutely. He is tremendous, Emile Smith-Rowe. And I remember last season, I think like that was when the hype really started to build up. He was putting a few good games together. You could see a lot of promise, and people were so quick to say, oh, he has 2 goals and 1 assist in 15 games. How good can he really be? As if it wasn't his first season ever playing consistent top flight minutes. You're seeing this kid now as one of the protagonists for Arsenal, one of the best players in that team every single week. And whether he scores a goal or doesn't, now he's starting to get even more goals in his game, which makes him even more dangerous. But quite simply, Terry, this is one of the best young players in the Premier League. No question about it. Is he better than Foden? No, I don't think so. I think Foden is approaching conversations with, for me, the likes of Mbappe and Haaland, in my opinion. Kai Havertz, I know George was the one that really staked that claim that he thinks that Smith-Rowe is better right now, not even in a few years. I'd have to say at the moment, Emile Smith-Rowe is in much better form than Kai Havertz. You can't disagree with that. Long-term, we'll see. Mason Mount, this year, better form than him. Is he better than him long-term? We'll see. But I think outside of Foden, he probably has an argument for him to be better than them maybe now and in a few years. I think Foden, though, is head and shoulders above every single youngster in this league.
Yeah, look, I think Foden. Thank you very much, CFC Florida, for resubscribing and rejoining as a legend and superfan member of the channel. Means a great deal to me. We're nearly on the 500 like mark, people. Amazing. Like my view is very much like I think he's a very talented player. I kind of look at him and Mount, Kai Havertz, and I see tremendous talent in all of them.
Yep.
Differentiating between them, I think, is splitting hairs. Smith Rowe's disadvantage to the others is that those two guys are at a club in the Champions League, more experienced manager, better squad. They can play in the Champions League to express themselves. Smith Rowe doesn't have that luxury. That isn't Smith Rowe's fault because he's too young to have been a reason that the Arsenal sit where they sit in the current pyramid of football. But the Grealish and the kind of Foden takes I've seen. Now, a few people in the comments are going, Terry, why are you putting pressure on Emile Smith Rowe? I'm not making this claim. Arsenal fans have. I'm simply stating, again, slow down on that. Because if you start, I'm not saying this kind of I'm just talking about you're going too far. I remember every time a new young striker came through at a club, Iheanacho at Leicester, Tammy Abraham at Chelsea, as examples. Brewster at Liverpool. It was this player's levels above Rashford. The fan base would hype him up. The pressure would mount, and then and again, I do think it plays a part on development of players because players are on social media. So when this hype happens, it's great, but then the rivals come out with their daggers when it starts going wrong. Look how quickly now rivals turn on a big money signing when they don't deliver within 2 or 3 games. That pressure will seep in via that player's phone into their world. And some players are very good at kind of cutting it out. I read a thing about Pogba this week where he kind of lives in a bubble, doesn't see any of this. And by the way, most footballers are not on social media themselves. It's a company doing it for them, i.e. Bruno Fernandes posting a picture of Arsenal players. They obviously logged into the wrong account, right? So we know that. But I think the younger generation are far more susceptible to it because they grew up using social media in a very different way. So is Emile Smith Rowe brilliant? Yes. Is he a world-class talent with world-class ability? Yes. I think he can get to a world-class level from what I've seen. It's a long, long way to go yet. I would just be sitting back and saying, let's not even put this pressure upon his shoulders. Let's not start comparing him to Champions League winners, multiple Premier League winners, players that have got their nation to a final of a major tournament for the first time since 1966. You don't need to do it. I know you want the player celebrate little victories. Celebrate little victories where he's got more goal contributions so far this season than well done, Smith Rowe. Let's keep going. But you're years away from being able to say better. And I just think that again, it's a little bit of slight jump in the gun. And let me just say about Saka and Emile Smith Rowe, I've said for a long time, they are two of the very best young talents this country has got. I think they've got tremendous ability. They've got a huge, huge ceiling. And you can see that from all the little bits of magic and brilliance you see from them. Emile Smith Rowe is one of the best carriers of the ball you've got. His ability, he gives me that kind of, when he's got the ball in the advanced position, and excuse what I'm going to say, he gives me sort of Xavi and Iniesta vibes with his low center of gravity, how he can turn and roll people. Vibes. I'm not putting him on their level. I've just seen him sometimes, he's been stuck in positions, and he'll roll a man. I'm like, that's so good. We ain't had a lot of English players that have been able to do that. Like, legit, he will have, if he stays fit, a better Arsenal career than Jack Wilshere. I think he could be better than Jack Wilshere was amazing. I think Smith Rowe is like an echelon above that in terms of talent. I really do. But slow down still. Slow down, hold back a little bit and kind of wait instead of comparing him against all the other top youngsters that are 2 or 3 years ahead of him in development. Smith Rowe this season will probably hit, like Saka's gone through recently, like a little bit of a lull where he isn't performing. That's normal for young players. I think you're setting him up to get so much pressure put upon him by others by these comparisons. So brilliant talent. Slow down a little bit would just be my take on the matter, to be fair.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's kind of like the first one that we had, Arteta over Klopp. Like, it's just, first of all, that one is even more ridiculous because there's no evidence compared to a lot of evidence. But I think with Smith Rowe and with Saka as well, like Greenwood, I think was the perfect example last season. So many people wrote him off because of what's normal, a second year slump. He went through that. Most young players go through that. Very, very few young players don't go through that. And that's the Mbappes and the Haalands who are once in a generation talents. But I'm sure Smith Rowe will hit a bump of time this season where he isn't going to score for 10, 15 games. People are going to overreact like crazy, like, oh, I told you he was never better than Mount, or I told you he was never better than Foden. Sure, it's gonna happen. But I think you said it pretty well, right? Like, let's just take it a game at a time, take the small victories for what they are. And I think appreciate these players while you have them. Because I'm sure Arsenal fans, if you ask them now, they probably wish they appreciated Wilshere or Ramsey a little more than they did, instead of at the time just constantly throwing him into discussions with players that truthfully he probably didn't have a right to be in. But I think Smith Rowe is in really great form this season. I was really happy to see him make his England debut last night. And I hope that him and Saka and the rest of the youngsters in the league continue to progress, but at their own pace.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's what I've kind of noticed with fan bases, and this is not an Arsenal thing, this is a football fan thing. There's almost this element sometimes of, if you're not loving my favorite player like I love him, or praising him as, you can, I've done it before where I've sat there and like praise someone's star boy, and you can see their face getting angry. It's like, why are you angry? You're overpraising him. That's too much pressure. Okay, cool. And then you tone it down a bit because you're trying to be respectful to that fan base. Why are you not praising our star boy as much as you praise Greenwood? I'm like, God, like, so I just learn. I'm going to say what I think, irrespective of everybody else's feelings. And Emile Smith Rowe is highly talented, but above Foden, come on. You know, above, we haven't seen, the one thing we haven't seen, like Emile Smith Rowe do yet, play 2 important games a week, every week. Like, these are little milestones that a little bit like the Arteta conversation earlier. We haven't seen Arteta have to manage a squad in the Champions League and Premier League where he's expected to win both, and he's got to balance that squad to get it just right. Until no one knows if he can do that, because he hasn't had to do it. And, you know, it's one of my things. I remember when Brendan Rodgers nearly won the league with Liverpool, and Liverpool fans were like, oh, we'll buy in a bigger squad. We'll go to that next level. None of us have seen Brendan Rodgers manage a squad yet. Slow down till we see it. Manage that. I know he lost Suarez, but he managed it awfully. He didn't do a good job of managing the balance of the team, keeping people happy and keeping the team together. And I just sort of feel like that's what people have got to do, is slow down a little bit with overhyping. And, you know, I look at it this way. Jadon Sancho coming to Man United. I based my excitement on 3 years of consistency at one of the best leagues in the world. We didn't sign Jadon Sancho as an unused 17-year-old and go, going to come here and get 20, 30 goal contributions a season. There was something to base it on. He hasn't delivered it. And that's him. And I now regret being so positive, because I feel like, you know, I've set myself up to be bantered there. And often when I speak, it's based on, I've done that a few times and it don't feel good when it goes wrong. So I'm going to hold back. Like, trust me, no matter who we make as our manager, whether it's the Dan with Brendan Rodgers as his cone boy, you're not going to see me get overhyped. I'm going to be really level-headed and balanced and be like, we might still come 6th. We're run by the Glazers. I'm not going to allow myself to be like, right, you know, even if we start well and win our first 6-7 games, I'm going to keep pinching myself and be like, I'm going to set a reminder on my phone to go off before my live streams to go, just remember, it's all gone wrong before after a good start, because you have to temper yourself to it. You really, really do. CFC Florida here says, is it the what have we done for me lately crowd mentality, total lack of perspective? I hear what you're saying there. Brandon, a big Arsenal fan here, says Arteta is better than Klopp because he's on a 10-game unbeaten run, 9 of which Arsenal are expected to win. Do me a favor. Smoking, what's that word? Smoking? B-U-J?
Smoking bush.
Bush. Is that how you pronounce it? Bush.
It's Jamaican for weed, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. And we all get things wrong. We all get opinions wrong. I just think the level of pressure that's being placed upon young Smith Rowe doesn't need to come at this moment in time. That's just my take. And I just don't think he needs that kind of pressure in any way, shape, or form, to be absolutely honest. Let's do some more of your takes. Remember, a lot of you have super chatted, which is so humbling, but have a guess at the secret phrase. Try and win the PlayStation 5. Try and get that done for me. 5 or so minutes left to go on this thing. We're 521 likes. If we hit 1,000, I give you the first clue. So it's up to you guys to get us past that 1,000 mark, please. And with you guys super chatting, you should always be guessing. You should always be guessing. Twisted Bubba here, one of my members, says, Terry, how did you get this Sancho expectation so wrong? Even the statistical data. Well, the statistical data isn't wrong. What I've said about Sancho is statistically true. Look, I do blame it on Ollie, and I do blame it on the system and how he's being used. And it's one of the reasons why, for Sancho's sake, he's now being trained. He's literally spent the last 4 weeks in training, trying to learn how to become a bloody fullback. like, it's a madness. But It just is what it is. It is what it is. Look how many people got Timo Werner wrong. Everybody expected Werner to score here because his goal scoring before didn't quite happen. Look at Jack Grealish so far this season. Jack Grealish is playing in one of the best teams in the world with arguably the best manager of the last 10 years, and he isn't really delivering. His team have failed to score in 6 games this year. That's the maddest thing about takes. I felt that he would flop there, and I was called a hater. Like, I get shit for getting Sancho wrong. No one's like, oh, Terry, you're kind of right about Grealish, It is what it is. It is what it is. But there we go. Let's have a look at some more. Let's have a look at a few more. Steve Bruce clear of Sir Alex Ferguson in my books. You know what? Throw us in. Do that. We'll do that at the last bit of the show. Put in your craziest takes, your most extreme hot takes. I want to know what they are. I want to know what they are tonight. I think Gilmore has a higher level than Emile Smith Rowe, is what Sharma has got to say there with a super chat. That's an interesting one.
I like Gilmore. I like Gilmore, but that's a hot take. I'm not saying it's a bad take. That's a hot take. I got to see more from Gilmore.
It's very, very, very spicy indeed. It is a spicy one. Is that Ferran Torres on camera? A lot of people say you like Ferran Torres.
Right, that's the one I get the most, man. That's the one I get the most. Like I get a lot of people who say you look like this footballer, this footballer. Ferran Torres is like the most popular one of the month. I don't see it personally, but
Lengan Sweet says Phil Foden is the English Messi. That's my mad take, is what he thinks.
I like that take. I like the premise of that take. I like what you're thinking. He's obviously, in my opinion, never going to touch the levels Messi did. But I think even the way Pep has kind of given him this free role in this Manchester City team, it's kind of reminiscent of what he did with Messi in that Barcelona team. Listen, you go where you want. You do what you want. You play in that false 9 position and just win us games. He's going to be England's version of Messi, but he won't be Lionel Messi.
Yeah, no one will be. Terry, which English players would get into the French squad? It's not really a take, it's more of a question, but Kane could get in their squad. Well, when everybody's fit and firing, Harry Kane could get in.
Here's a hot take for you. Does Harry Kane get in over Karim Benzema?
Oh, that's so hard. I'd take Harry Kane over Benzema.
I'm taking Benzema.
No, not over him. You just take Marcel out the squad. It's really easy. He gets in the squad. I don't know if he starts over him. To be blunt, but he gets in the squad. Who else would get into the squad? Rashford walks into the French squad.
Over Mbappe.
Harry Maguire, much better than Kimpembe. Reece James and Trent Alexander-Arnold all get in the squad.
Both.
And by the way, get Maguire over Kimpembe, I think it's a joke. I can't believe Terry said it. Some of you guys can't take a joke. That's what I've noticed. A few would get in. I haven't thought about it deeply, but yeah, a few would definitely get in. CFC Florida says, take Liverpool fans are the most humble in the Premier League. Okay. I see you tapping up Big Sam for United, Terry. Yeah, me and Big Sam spoke about that job. Big Sam to United, save us from relegation.
Y'all are boys now,
huh? Terry trying to get his hairline back. Baldinho is my extreme take. That's not an extreme take, though. I'm literally getting it back. My hairline is coming back. It's just gone for a bit. But thank you for the super chat, my brother. Maguire. See, I like when people laugh because they knew I was joking. And they can take a joke. Learning to take a joke is a very important thing in life. Let's have a little look at some more of these comments here. I mean, Kimpembe, I don't think he's that great, to be fair. I don't look at Kimpembe and go, what's his name? I haven't heard this player's name in a long time. Where's Umtiti?
Umtiti is at Barcelona, and his career is basically done.
No, and the reason I say that is this. And this is why sometimes I get certain English players get overhyped, but so do some foreign players as well. Because for years I was told Umtiti is like the next great defender. Now I don't know his name. I don't hear him being spoken about.
Here's the thing with
Koulibaly was another one. Koulibaly is second to VVD. He's not. He just isn't. He just isn't. Otherwise, a big club of the ball.
I ain't giving you Umtiti though. Umtiti was integral to that France World Cup team. The thing with him is he had an injury before that World Cup and he didn't get surgery. He played the World Cup knowing it would like basically ruin his career, and he has not been the same since that World Cup. But it's injuries with that guy. Koulibaly, I think I agree with you on that.
Yeah, again, a lot of these guys have talent, and it's how you do it. And what is it? Daniel says availability is the best ability. So if
True.
I love how people say that, but then we'll defend players whose careers were cut short through injury. I'm like, well, what is it? Is it the best ability or is it not the best ability? I don't know. Thank you very much, my guy, for becoming an official Academy member of the Terrace. Unpopular take. Antonio Conte will restructure Harry Winks' career. I like that. That's a pretty good one, to be fair. That's a pretty good one. I'm liking that. I am. Hot take here. Ollie will quit United to join Newcastle. He spent 3 failed months there before quitting football to voice the coach in the new Space Jam movies, is what Abdullah's got to say. I like that. Super chat here. Chelsea is a historical club with great legacy. Oh, the digs are coming out now. The digs are coming out.
They're becoming one. Just wait.
The thing is with Chelsea, it's 20 years now of sustained success. Like, that's history. That is history right there.
Bro, they got history. One less Champions League than Manchester United. They are coming. Like, this isn't a joke anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Got one here that says, where's it gone? Where's it gone? Here it is. It's just come up now. Emile Smith Rowe or Mount? Oh, I'm not answering that question. Who would you take? If you had to take one right now, who would you take?
Mason Mount. I'll take Mason Mount.
I'll take Emile Smith Rowe then. There we go. Split it down the middle. Elliott will be better than these English cams. Harvey Elliott will be better. Ooh.
I ain't rocking. I'm not rocking. I'm not buying all the hype over Harvey Elliott. He's good, but I think that's Liverpool fans getting ahead of themselves again.
AWB can still play football. Do you know what? Like, he is one of a handful of players. I'm so desperate to have a class coaching team around him. I'm intrigued to see how good he could be. Like, I know everyone writes him off,
including me.
But I think he'll shock a few of you, man. I think he'll shock a few of you.
This is my hot take with Wan-Bissaka. Manchester United, the next manager that comes into the club, Wan-Bissaka will be one of the people who makes way, in my opinion. He'll be one of the first players that makes way, because I think they will recognize that attacking fullbacks are the number one facet of creativity in the modern day game. And you cannot be that kind of team with Wan-Bissaka at right wing back. But that's my opinion. That's my hot take.
That's a good one. Brandon's got one here. Keep the super chat. Guys, the super chatters, please have a guess for the secret phrase as well, please. Have a guess, please. That's what it's there for. It's for you guys. Take Newcastle will win the Premier League title before Arsenal and Man United. Listen, that could happen. That is not a bad take. That's not a hot take. That's a pretty damn good one.
Yeah.
That is a pretty damn good one, to be fair with you. It really, really is. It really, really is a good take there. Mine is the next permanent manager at Manchester United will play Scott McTominay regularly. I just got a feeling. I got a feeling he will. I've got a feeling he will. And then... yeah, it's got a feeling he will. And I'm desperate for it. I'm not for any personal reasons, because I love all my players at my club, but I don't really care. I don't really care how many stay, how many go. I'm sort of like, I'm kind of happy for them to fizzle out and whatever. But I sort of look at it like, I just want to see a manager we're all excited about and happy with playing a player that everybody despises.
I'll tell you who it's going to be. My hot take, the next Manchester United manager will play Fred a lot. I think Fred will be an important player for Manchester United. And this is coming from someone who probably is Fred's biggest critic on Twitter, but I think he will be a key player for whoever manages United next.
I mean, McTominay might become a centre-back for us. Like, I don't know, but he'll play. I just think he will. AWB and Varane can be Man United's centre-back pairing.
No.
I mean, that's the point of the hot take thing. Grey Wolf Dinner here with one. Grey Wolf Dinner is going to be here with one in a minute, and he says, Conor Gallagher is the next Chelsea star and is already better than any Arsenal youngster. Is the phrase super sub? The phrase isn't super sub, but Conor Gallagher is talented though, isn't he? Conor Gallagher is very, very good, to be fair. He's very, very good.
I agree. I think he's great. I think he's all action. I think he will be back at Chelsea, and he's improved a lot from last season because he was good at West Brom, but here at Crystal Palace, he's adding goals to his game, assists to his game. There's an England call up coming up soon, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nav here says Eddie Howe as the next United manager in the next 2 to 3 years. Watch would be no surprise at this rate. Well, the thing is,
downgrade.
The thing is, if Eddie Howe, if they spend money, which I think they will, and Newcastle improve and do very, very good, people will be calling for him. This is the crazy thing. Right now, Eddie Howe's looked at as, honestly, 3 years ago, Eddie Howe was Graham Potter. That's how people spoke about him. And then you go in and out of fashion. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does a good job that people start to think like that. Let's have a little look here at some more of these takes that are coming through. Let's have a little look. Where are we here? Abdi here says, Terry, Hazard has a better Madrid legacy than Ronaldo. That's beyond the hot take. That's like, jeez.
That's egregious.
He spent longer in the canteen. That's about it. That's the only one. Eddie Howe over Ollie from Jason, one of our members here. I think most people would agree with that, to be fair. Most people would, to be honest. But listen, everyone that has tuned in to the first episode we've changed the name at the beginning of the show. It's going to be called Extreme Hot Takes. I like that. I quite like that. Hot Takes is the show. Thank you for watching episode 1. A little bit of fun. We're going to try and do this at least once a week. A little bit more lighthearted than the news and stuff like that. Make sure you smash that like button before you leave. If you love the show, subscribe to the Terrace and turn on the bell notifications. We also have a notification group chat in the description below as well with Telegram. So make sure you sign up to that as well. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.